Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Oh, okay. That's not that show. This is your host of Table Flippers Podcast, Robert Enos, coming to you from beautiful Lancaster, California, here in my office and studio, tucked away in the back room of the church. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be back. I think you should know by now, I was just recently in Israel, flew out Thursday night real late, or I guess you could say Friday morning real early, just before bombs started falling. And, it's so interesting because when you see the news and you see things happening and everything, and it's terrible things right now, of course. There's a war going on, Israel with Iran and other places, and the United States with Iran, both Israel and the United States bombing Iran shooting missiles at seems like everybody now. And when we were there, we were there in Israel all the way up to Thursday about midnight. And we had problem zero. People there were beautiful. Food was great. Everybody's just doing their thing, going about their business. And it was we had a fantastic time. So ladies and gentlemen, my point on all of that is, please don't believe the media, especially here in the United States. I love the United States, but there's some things we really need to get a grip on. And one of those things is the media. The media here, when I say the media, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm going to be reading to you some things from the Daily Wire. I trust the Daily Wire. And I don't even consider them a news outlet, but I get clearer, better news, more honest news from the Daily Wire than I do from New York Times, LA Times, or any of those other times. And even a lot of people are coming against like Fox News, and there's good reason for it. But Fox News does a better job than most of these other news outlets, especially CNN. Oh my gosh. I'm not even really sure what CNN stands for, but I think it stands for the Communist News Network, because they certainly do not share Americans' viewpoint, or do they have the American heart? But certainly it's more of a communist kind of mentality when they bring things out. Anyways, neither here nor there. But so don't believe what's going on or what they're saying and all these protests, these anti-Israel protests. I just caught a little clip earlier today, not a climp, a clip of Nick Fuentes. Now, I know very little about Nick Fuentes because I understand that he's very much a Nazi-minded individual. He hates Israel. And this clip, and it was clear in this clip, that he was so upset that we're bombing Iran because, and I'm not going to quote you word for word what he said, but in essence, this is what he said, because Iran balances, I think he even used that word, balances Israel. He looks at Israel as being like this, like the greatest problem on the planet. It's interesting, and you can do this, ladies and gentlemen. Google this. Just Google this. Google, say, how many square miles is the United States of America? As a matter of fact, maybe I'll do that right now while we're listening. I won't Google it, but I'm going to chat GPT. Again, it's just a good resource. I take it with a grain of salt, especially when I'm dealing with theological or doctrinal things. But nonetheless, some of their just facts and figures are pretty right on. So I'm gonna chat GPT this. How many square miles is the USA? Question mark. Let's see what it tells us. It's spinning here. The little dot is bouncing. Oh, there it is. The United States covers approximately 3,600,000 796,742 square miles total area. So 3,796,742 square miles. That's almost 3.8 million square miles. Okay, now, just for perspective, ladies and gentlemen, how many square miles is Israel? Question mark. The modern state of Israel is approximately, oh my gosh, I knew Israel was much smaller than the United States. Okay, it's much smaller. If you're there, you drive north to south easy in one day. I mean, easy, even with the traffic. So check this out. Remember, the United States of America is 3.7, what was it, 3.76? No, I'm sorry, 3.796. So almost 3,800,000, almost, just barely under that, okay? 3,800,000 square miles. The total land of Israel right now, the modern state of Israel, is approximately 8,630 square miles. 8,630 square miles. It's 1/440th the size of the United States of America. From north to south, it is approximately 290 miles. At its narrowest point near Netanya, it's about 9 to 10 miles wide. Okay, the narrowest 10 miles, and from north to south 290 miles. It would take 440 Israels to match the size of the United States of America. I want you to, the reason I'm sharing that with you, and I think that's important for you to understand, is because the American left, including the media, especially the media, but the American left, and I'm talking at college level, university level, teaching professors. I don't understand why these people that are supposed to be brilliant, they're supposed to be brilliant. They're supposed to be smart. They're supposed to have their facts and information correct, are teaching our young people, these young minds full of mush, as Rush Limbaugh used to say, minds full of mush. They're supposed to be filling those minds full of mush with education and information and facts. And yet, what are they doing? They're lying to them. I'm not going to say everyone, of course not every, but they're lying to our young people. They're lying to our young people, ladies and gentlemen. I used to be huge on getting young people to college. Used to be. Get that paper, that document that tells you, get your degrees. If you need to be a doctor, then go get your doctorate in whatever field. Go get a master's, go get an AA, go get a BA, go get an education, because it's going to be so important. I used to tell my kids that. I used to tell other kids that, other families that. And I say I owe every one of them an apology. More than just a, hey, I'm sorry, maybe I should. I mean, I owe them an apology, a radical apology, because I was just thinking they're going to get good information. They're going to get taught and trained. They'll be better human beings, better citizens. And the exact opposite is happening, ladies and gentlemen. So now you know what I tell people? Unless it's something specific, like you need that paper, like being a lawyer or a doctor or something of that nature, go to trade school. Yeah, just go to trade school. Get a good trade and work with your hands. Sometimes you don't need to work with your hands. You work with your mind, but work with your hands. Get a good education in a trade school. Become great at your craft, and you'll not only make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, you won't have your mind twisted and perverted by these knuckleheads in these universities. So these young minds full of mush. I don't know. And here's the thing. I was watching, again, another little clip. Did I finish the clip on Nick Fuentes? I don't think so. Anyways, he goes back and he's just talking about how he wants Iran around. The regime. We're not talking about the Iranian people. The regime, that wicked, evil regime, because it balances out Israel. Israel was such a bad place. It's such a bad place, ladies and gentlemen. Israel. 8,600 and some odd square miles is Israel. And if you look at a map, it's a little sliver of a country surrounded by their enemies, people that hate them, including the Iranian regime. And this Nick Fuentes knucklehead and many on the left. And here's the thing about Nick Fuentes. He's very much on the right in a lot of areas. But on this one, he has completely taken the side of left-leaning knuckleheads and hates Israel. I would bet money that he's never been there. I mean, really been there. Maybe he's done the Tucker Carlson tour where he lands his plane, walks into a private room at the airport. When he's done with the interview, walks back to his plane and flies out. Maybe he's done the Tucker Carlson tour, but he's never done the Rabinus tour where he actually gets out, shakes hands with the people, talks to them, even people that would disagree with me and I with them on a lot of issues. We still have civil conversation there in Israel. Like I said, I am a charismaniac, full gospel, present truth Christian, filled with the Holy Spirit and fire. And one of my most favorite people to talk to anywhere in the world is a gentleman in Old Jerusalem who is a Jewish Orthodox Jew rabbi. And we get into some of the greatest conversations, and I just love being around him. It's just because he's a gracious man. Oh, no. That's not supposed to happen. That's not what Israel does. They're persecuting the Christians over there. They're persecuting. As Tucker Carlson would say, well, aren't they persecuting the Christians out there? Well, I'm not going to speak for everybody because there's always a knucklehead or two. In every place that you go, every country has a few people that are embarrassments to that overall country. Same with city, state, whatever. I mean, if you don't really fully understand it, you look at the actions of the few and then judge the whole country by the actions of a few. So yeah, there's a few jerks there, just like there are here. So ladies and gentlemen, how do I know this? Because here in America, we have Tucker Carlson. We have Nick Fuentes. We have Candace Owen. Does that mean all of America shares their views? No. Does that mean all of America are hate-filled, hate-mongering Jew haters? No, absolutely not. There's a lot of us that just have a great and deep appreciation for Israel for many reasons. Because it's biblical. It's our roots. Our Christian roots. And when you really get to know, and I'm not saying, again, everybody, but there's enough people over there that are gracious and kind and really have a great passion and a drive for all of us. And I'm not going to throw them under the bus because of a few. So there's a Jew that walks down the street and he spits on a Christian church. Oh my gosh. We're going to need the Iranian regime to reel Israel back in place because a Jew spit on a Christian church. Where even here in the United States of America, there are people that claim they're not, but they claim to be Christian or have some type of Christian background that will burn down a church or kill and murder Jews. Don't tell me it's the same. Don't tell me it's the same. Well, Netanyahu, so what? You don't have to agree with everything Netanyahu does, but you don't hate an entire country of people because of their leaders. If that were the case, during the Obama administration, the Clinton administration, Jimmy Carter administration, certainly the Biden administration, I would hate America because they were our presidents. No, I just hated what they did. I hated what they did. Love America. Here in California, I tell people all the time, California is the greatest state in the union. And yes, I stand by that. The state itself, the greatest. We live in an area that I can drive north up into the Sierras. I can go fishing. I can go skiing. I can go camping. It's beautiful. Some of the most beautiful land on the face of the planet. Great fishing. It's just gorgeous. Okay? It's just a little bit of a drive north from me. I can drive into my local mountains. And again, it's not as beautiful as the Sierras, but it's still very beautiful. I can drive westward and go to the beach. I can be in Malibu. I can be in Ventura. I can go down south a little bit, Newport, and all these different places. I can go east if I want to go hang out in the desert. I live in the desert, but go a little east and it's desert. Now, I'm not one to gamble or anything like that, but a little bit of a drive and I'm in Las Vegas. A drive a little bit more and I'm at the river, the Colorado River. So my point is, just by virtue of where we're at and what we have available to us and how beautiful it is, and we can be at anything we want to be. We can be in the mountains. We can be at the beach. We can be in the snow. We can be in the desert, all in the same day. Ladies and gentlemen, there is not a state out of all 50 that's quite like California. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's awesome. But we have a Gavin Newsom. We have a highly Democrat, liberal government at the state level. And it's garbage. It is garbage what they have done and what they're doing. So politically, our state is one of the worst, if not the worst. But as far as the state itself, it's the best. The state itself, the land and all of that. People still come from all over to visit because how beautiful it is. It's slowed down a lot because everything's so expensive. Again, because of the politics. But, think about it. How many states would you have to visit outside of California to be in the desert, the mountains with the snow, and surfing at the ocean all in the same day? How many states would you have to visit? Because I don't think there's any other state that you can do all of those in one day. But you can do that here in California. Anyways, so my point is, again, I love California, but I can't stand our California government. And because I can't stand our California government doesn't mean I hate the state. Just because I didn't like Biden and what he was doing doesn't mean I hated the United States of America. But it seems like these Israel haters, they find that as a justification. They don't like Netanyahu. They don't like what he has done. They don't like the decisions he's made. So all Jews are bad. The whole country is evil because we don't like Netanyahu. Do you understand how ridiculously moronic that is? And I'm serious about that. That's the way, I don't know, low IQ people, brainwashed people, dumb people think. Yeah. I remember one time, this is years ago, when we were looking at buildings for a church. And actually, we had a plan. We were going to buy a smaller building that we knew we would outgrow really fast, but it was an investment, kind of an investment property, so that we can get in there, use it as church, let it grow in equity, sell it, and then buy what we really need. And it worked beautifully. It really did work beautifully. But we would go into certain buildings. We took some of our pastors and elders in there so that they can look at it too. And I walk in, and it didn't matter the color on the wall. Didn't matter the color of the carpet or the flooring. It didn't even really matter much the overall layout, because my plan was, because it's a smaller building, we'll gut it out, open it up, put new paint on it, new flooring on it, new lighting in it, and use it as a church. So I can envision that. But some people didn't quite have that creativity about them. And I'm not blaming them. They don't have to. But they couldn't quite see it. Oh, I don't like this because, and it was funny, like we look in the bathrooms have, are painted a color I don't really like. So I don't like this place. So we can repaint it. And they couldn't visualize, they couldn't see it. So they would write off what otherwise was a beautiful building and would work perfectly for what we wanted, what we needed, because maybe somebody painted the bathroom a color that they didn't quite like, or they put a type of flooring down. Think about this for just a moment. Flooring that maybe they didn't like the color, or they didn't like the hardwood, or they didn't like the carpet there. And I'm like, it's all got to come up anyways, because when I remove that wall over there to expand this, and when I move that wall over there, well, the flooring is going to be torn up. We're going to have to put new flooring down. It means we're going to have to do some work. We're going to have to paint. So visualize this place without that wall over there or that wall over there. And it seemed like some, now I'm not going to say all, could not visualize it. So they would pass a judgment, this won't work, or I don't like it because there's a wall there, or there's a flooring that I don't care for there. When I'm like, no, get that out of your head. Visualize this with no walls in here, a big open room. Visualize this with whatever flooring you like, all of that. The bathrooms can be repainted, completely redone. In other words, my point is on that is in many ways, people don't have that ability. And it's part being creative, but it's also being able to see the bigger picture. They can't see the bigger picture. So whether it be Nick Fuentes or Candace Owen or Tucker Carlson or any other one of these people that are coming against Israel because they don't like what Netanyahu does, it's really small-mindedness, no real true vision, no ability to see beyond the things they don't like into the things they do like. I was just talking to a buddy of mine. I mean, literally, I just came from the gym where I wasn't working out. I just stopped in to say hello because we just got in town and I was wiped out still jet lagged. Anyway, so I was talking to him and we were talking about this very thing, right? And I just came here and started doing this. So talking about these very things, about how, and even he could see this. This is awesome in this sense that, we can't be so narrow-minded on these things. We can't be so short, have such a short, low vision of things. So there's something you don't like. Look beyond the negative to the positive. Find something you do like. Because listen, we were discussing this, that in Israel, this is so unique. And it's one thing to say it, it's a whole nother thing to experience it. So I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as it opens up, jump on an El Al airline flight, go into Israel and enjoy it. You'll see people from Orthodox Jews to secular Jews, nominal Jews, conservative Jews, Christians of all denominations or sects, such as Orthodox. You'll see some Pentecostals. You'll see some evangelicals. You'll see some Catholics. You'll see Arabs. You'll see Muslims. All living in Israel, all living in the same areas, going to the same restaurants, shopping in the same shops, and there was no problems. People talk to one another. They shake one another's hands. They greet one another. They're very cordial, very kind. And so visitors from America that look so different than them, act so different, talk so different, they treat us graciously. Like I said, one of my favorite things to do when I'm in Israel is go to Moshe's shop and sit down and talk to him. Very wonderful, nice, kind gentleman in every way. I love one of my favorite places to go in the world, and I mean this, in the world, is to the Western Wall. A lot of Christians don't understand this when I say this, but I can feel and sense the presence of God at the Western Wall more than most, not all, but most anywhere else in the world at any time. And it's a place where Christians and Jews come to pray. The Jewish people are praying to receive Messiah, generally speaking. There's other prayers, of course, where the Christians are thanking God for Messiah and praying for his second coming, but just praying in general. And you experience the presence of God there like no other place on the planet. And I just love it. I love it. And so anyways, I'm going to get off of that for just a moment because most just don't understand the beauty of what Israel is. We talk about America being the great melting pot. Well, I'm telling you that Israel very much so is, like America, a great melting pot. And it's usually when they have problems with terrorists and things like that, it's usually, not always, but usually people coming in from the outside, such as the Gaza Strip, such as Syria, places such as that cause the problems. And then when Israel defends itself, oh, see, Israel is just killing innocent people. No, they're not innocent. Anyways, I said I was going to read something to you. I'm on this because of what's going on right now. But even before the bombing of Iran and all of this, and it started in October 7th, literally on October 8th, when Israel starts fighting back, all these purple-haired weirdos in America and these white liberal women, for the most part, well, no, 100%, because even though they look like males, they're not acting like men, protesting Israel. Even though they're just defending themselves from literal terrorists that came in there and butchered and murdered Israelis. Unprovoked attack. Completely unprovoked. Anyways, so keep that in mind. The United States of America, just a little under 3.8 million square miles. Israel, 8,600 square miles. It would take 440, according to ChatGPT, Israel's to fit into the United States of America. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. It is very, very small. They have to work overtime to defend themselves from all these terrorist peoples and nations and groups that keep attacking them. In my last podcast, I read to you how many missiles has been fired from Gaza Strip into Israel. And so they keep firing all these missiles into Israel, destroying things. Israel goes and defends themselves. Oh, you can't do that. But nobody's protesting the Gazans, the Palestinians, for firing missiles into Israel. As a matter of fact, I don't think it was from Gaza, but as I said, there's a Druze village in the northern part of Israel, and a missile fired into Israel landed in a soccer field with kids playing soccer and killed 12 of them and injured many, many, many more. You didn't see that on our news, did you, ladies and gentlemen? But look it up. Druze village, 12 children died. You can Google that and find it, I'm sure. Why? Unprovoked attack on Israel. Now, if Israel sends a plane up there with some missiles and takes out that missile launcher that shot people would be in the streets burning the American flag, burning the Israeli flag. But nobody batted an eye, standing up for those 12 children that were brutally murdered by these wicked Muslims that fired that missile. I don't get it. I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, America and Israel's bombing Iran, and rightfully so. If you can't get that through your thick skull, you know nothing. And it's not even just ignorance. There's an evil and a wickedness in your own heart. If you're really against this, I'm being honest with you. There's an evil and wickedness in your own heart that won't allow you to see the truth and to stand for the true victims in this crime, if you'll call it that. And that's the Israeli people and the American people. Iran has sponsored terrorism all over the world, but especially against Israel and the United States. I looked it up earlier. There was, dozens and dozens. And there was, since going all the way back from when this regime first came into power, how they had been killing Americans every chance they get, especially American servicemen. This was way overdue, ladies and gentlemen. This was way overdue. Jimmy Carter should have been doing what they're doing, what President Trump is doing today. I don't know. Democrats. Anyways, don't get me off on that. I'll rip Democrats. And I said this already in earlier podcasts, earlier episodes, that really the problem, the truth, and this is just the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you want to accept it or not, this is the truth. Do you know what the real problem in America is? It's not the Democrat politicians. It's the Democrat voters who keep putting them there. There's something in the heart and the mind of left-leaning liberal Democrats and just people in general, regardless of what they call themselves. There's a wickedness there that finds agreement with the wickedness in these politicians and in these types of things. Now they're even protesting this bombing Iran, saying it's illegal, don't do it, oh my gosh, use international law. But nobody was saying anything when the Ayatollah was killing Americans, killing Jews, killing people, sponsoring terrorism. And instead, what do we got? We got Obama. Barack Hussein Obama giving billions of our tax dollars, cash, hard cold cash, to this Iranian regime. Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, you have a problem with that? You're like, no, I don't think that. Look it up. Do some homework and look it up. Obama is a traitor. He empowered our enemies. And I can guarantee you, just because of the nature of these wicked, evil people, that much of the billions of dollars that Obama sent to our enemies went to funding terrorism and the murder of Americans and Israelis. And then Nick Fuentes wants to come around. Oh, we need Iran. We need those wicked, evil, disgusting people to be like a check to bring balance to Israel. Like Israel is so bad that, I'm going to do something real quick to help put some things into perspective. Okay. We know that the modern state of Israel is 8,630 square miles. I'm asking, how many square miles is Iran? Question mark. Okay, here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming out. It's about to spit out. There it is. Ooh, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. The Iran covers about 636,000 square miles. 636,000 square miles. Israel, 8,630. Iran, 636,000 square miles. It says roughly 6 times the size of Israel and 1/5 the size of the United States. So it's much bigger than Israel. It's the bully on the block. It's the bully on the block. And this Iranian regime with the Ayatollah was bullying not just Israel, but all the other nations around them. And we see this because now that Israel and the United States said, finally, enough is enough. We've given you chance after chance after chance, and you're still doing all this wicked stuff. And they lob some bombs at them. What does Iran do? Well, they start shooting back, which everybody understood. They're going to shoot back. They're in a shooting match with missiles right now with Israel. And that's I'm not saying I like it or it's good or it just is understandable. If somebody shoots at me, I'm shooting back. So it's not right, but it's understandable. But what do they start doing? They start shooting at Kuwait, Qatar. They start shooting into, I believe they shot some missiles into Iraq. I mean, all over the place in that part of the world. I'm saying these are all Muslims. They all share the same basic belief system and their same basic belief system, not just religiously, but all the way around. And it's like he doesn't care. He's just shooting missiles at everybody. Saudi Arabia, just shooting missiles at everybody. He's going down. Well, whatever his name is, Ayatollah, he's pushing up daisies. And I don't like it when people have to die just to put an end to wickedness. But if they don't repent, if they don't turn, if they don't stop, good riddance. Good riddance. I have a feeling that Iran in the springtime is going to be very beautiful and green with lots of flowers because, man, these people are going to be pushing up some daisies. Not the Iranian people that are out partying and rejoicing, dancing, shouting. They're playing, what's that? YMCA song that President Trump loves so much. And he's got his dance, the little YMCA President Trump dance. You have these people by the hundreds in the streets playing YMCA as loud as it will go. And they're dancing like President Trump, waving American flags in Iran, waving the Israeli flag as well as the Iranian flags, because they're saying because of Israel and because of the United States, we are now free. And they love Trump. They even love Netanyahu. But here in America, oh my gosh, Netanyahu is the great Satan. And that's not coming from the Muslim. That's coming from the American left. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. Anyways, so check this out. This is from Daily Wire. And this is an article by Virginia Kruta. I believe that's how you say it. Published today, March 2nd, 2026. And the name of this, baffled by his party's response, Fetterman cheers Trump, Israel, as they pummel Iran. And in parentheses, or quotation marks, love it. So he says, love it. I guess he means like he loves it. Anyway, so just was published just a little while ago. And the subtitle is, not sure why it's controversial to anyone to appreciate and celebrate wiping out 49 leaders of one of the most evil regimes in recorded history. And that's the truth. Why wouldn't anybody be happy about that? But the Democrat Party, the left-leaners in the United States, and really other places in the world, but the United States, come on, they're so anti-American when they are more upset that American enemies are destroyed than they are happy that the people held hostage in their own country by this wicked regime are now free. They're upset. They are upset that these wicked people that held an entire country hostage, they're upset that these wicked dictators are now pushing up daisies. You can't make this stuff up. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a level of wickedness that most of us will never understand. Because it's foreign to me. I can't bring myself to that level of wickedness. I can't rejoice when I see Iranian civilians, people dancing in the street. Yeah, I rejoice with them. I cannot be upset. I will never be upset when these dictators who had plenty of time to repent and change the way they did things are now pushing up daisies. Anyways, let me see. Baffled by his party's response. So this is Fetterman. When Fetterman was first running and such, and he came in, I was really scratching my head over this because he had just had, if I understand it right, he had a stroke. And so he He was like slurring. He was not able to put sentences together fully. And yet he was voted in. And I thought, at the time, oh my gosh, having a Democrat in there is bad enough, really bad enough. But then somebody, and I'm not trying to put him down. I'm just saying there's certain medical issues and stuff that should, and I'm not saying in his sense, I'm just saying in regards to certain things, should kind of disqualify somebody from holding office. All right. And I thought, at least at the time, first hearing him, never heard of him before until that time, I thought, oh yeah, he should be disqualified. But how do you do that? What do you do? Anyways, so he got voted in fair and square. He's in there. And I'm telling you, I've had to repent in many, many ways. He's still a Democrat, so there's some things about him that I don't like. But as far as the Democrats are concerned, he's probably the best one. He's probably the best because he, even with those things that were against him in that sense, he has a better mind, more common sense, and more abilities to see the bigger picture and truth than any other Democrat. So Fetterman, again, I know there's be a lot of things that I know we would disagree on. That's Senator John Fetterman, Democrat of Pennsylvania. There's a lot of things that we would disagree on, yes. But the things that we agree on, we would agree on big time. Anyways, let me read some of this article. It says, while many in his party continue to criticize President Donald Trump's administration over the execution of Operation Epic Fury. I love that, by the way. Epic Fury. Joint strikes with Israel against the Iranian regime. Senator John Fetterman, Democrat from Pennsylvania, has thrown his full support behind the president in this case and is baffled by those who haven't. Senator Fetterman, I share your baffledness, but that confusion, that I don't understand it either. And but I will also say this, Senator Fetterman, I don't understand why you're still a Democrat. I really don't. You have common sense, and you're the only one in the entire party that has some common sense and some sense, at least, of what is right and what is wrong. You're the only one. So why are you there? Come on over, buddy. The water is nice. Come on in. The weather is great over here. The grass is green, and we're having a great time winning. Duh. Anyways, but John Fetterman, I agree with you. I am baffled by anybody that isn't supporting President Trump and destroying, absolutely obliterating this wicked regime. Let me continue reading. Fetterman, who has carved out a very pro-Israel position since his election to the U.S. Senate, voiced his support for Trump's action, at least as far as Iran was concerned, in a series of posts on X. Love it, he said in response to a Monday New York Post interview in which Trump had claimed that the operation was already right on schedule, way ahead of schedule in terms of leadership. 49 killed. 49 of that wicked regime's leadership are killed. And that was, going to take, we figured, at least 4 weeks. And we did it in one day. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to pause right there, at least from reading the rest of this, and tell you why this war, if you'll call it a war, I don't even know if war has been declared, but why this campaign is so important. Okay, so check this out. You got this wicked, evil regime that gets in, kind of forces their way in, holds an entire country hostage, all right, brutally murders their own people, and just recently murders upwards of 40,000 of their own citizens who were just protesting and wanted their freedom back. Okay, so wicked regime, a wicked regime that is funded by Obama. I want you to really put this into perspective. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, people like Obama, Biden, people of that nature, funding this wickedness, and they're killing their own people. Okay? Not only that, but it was funded heavily by communist countries such as China, Russia, And I even believe North Korea was involved in it. They're funding. Many of the weapons, if not all of them, that they are missiles and stuff that they're shooting all over the place are Russian made. Some of them Chinese made. Okay? Their fighter jets, their missiles, their missile launchers, all of this are from places like Russia, China. I'm not sure if North Korea gave them any weapons, but again, I think they're funding them, and the American left has funded them. So what's coming at us, our troops, a few of our troops have died, unfortunately, which is heartbreaking, from the missiles and from the bombings and stuff from Iran that was funded by Obama, missiles sold to them by Russia, China, most likely North Korea, and others, but those are the big ones. And so I want you to see that as the backdrop. Okay, this is the backdrop. We go after them and we bomb them, and we're looking at least a 4-week campaign to rid that nation and the world of at least the leadership. 4 weeks, 1 month. And it happened all in one day. As they're shooting at us, back at us, with Russian-made missiles and ammunition and such. Russian-made fighter jets. I believe they have some Chinese fighter jets, but it doesn't matter. So we doing this in one day, what would take a month. And now think about this also. Russia's at war with Ukraine. Most people thought when they first went to war, Russia's just going to march all the way over Ukraine. And they're still fighting after all of this time. And, you know, a lot of what Ukraine is fighting with is American-made weaponry. Okay? And they've been able to hold off a much larger country and military. Okay, I want you to put this into perspective. Why was this war with Iran at this point so necessary? Number one, to stop the terrorism that comes from that nation towards Israel and towards America and towards the rest of the world. 2, to set, and this is not necessarily in order, ladies and gentlemen, to set the Iranian citizens free from that wickedness, from that dictator, giving them back their country so that they can create or recreate their society the way the people want to create it. Not being forced into something by this Islamic / communist / dictatorial tyrant. Okay? So, to free the people and to rid the world of this terrorist organization or this nation and leadership, this regime that's funding terrorism all over the world. Okay, so 2. But here's one also, number 3, not necessarily 3 in order, but probably pretty close to being equally important as the first 2. To put on a show for Russia, for China, for North Korea, and any other tin horn nation or leadership of these nations, any other dictator, tyrant, we are showing all of them the military might of the United States of America. Because remember, Iran is using Russian military equipment against us, and we are annihilating them. I just read a little while ago that we sunk one of their last ships, their naval ships. Basically, the Iranian Navy is at the bottom of the ocean. Okay, Iran was claiming that they hit the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier with a hypersonic missile or some missile. And when they asked the captain of that particular ship, he chuckled. He says, yeah, they shot at us. Yeah, missed us by a mile. Didn't even come close. Didn't even come close, ladies and gentlemen. Yet we are sinking their ships left and right. We are taking out their missile silos like crazy. Destroyed their leadership. 49 of them in one day. Gone. Gone. Pushing up daisies. Fertilizer for the fields. And they're using all of their military equipment, training, all of that from Russia, from China, North Korea, etc. We are putting on display right now the United States of America. The United States of America, our American military is showing the world, especially all of our enemies, why don't mess with us. I love this, and I'm going to try to say this as nice as I say. So way back when they asked Biden, hey, Biden, hey, Biden, hey, Biden, hey, Uncle Joe, what do you say to Iran? Because they're trying to get this nuclear weapon and they want to use the nuclear weapon and they want nukes. What do you say to them? His response, with that gruff, mean look on his face, looking so stern, don't. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the man himself, Uncle Joe Biden, he says this to Iran. We want to get a nuclear bomb. So he says, Uncle Joe says, don't. Ooh, sent chills down my spine when I heard it. Then later on, when Kamala Harris is running for office, Auntie Kamala. Nah, she's not old enough to be my auntie. What can I call her? Cousin Kamala. There we go. Cousin Kamala. Hey, Cousin Kamala. What are you going to say to Iran? They're trying to get these nuclear weapons. What are you going to say? And she looks right into the camera, stern as she can look. She didn't laugh and cackle like a hyena this time. She just looked very stern into the camera and said, don't. Yes, she picked up the ball. She picked up from Joe by spending all that time with Uncle Joe. She picked up on what he was, on his toughness, on his strength. Don't. My goodness. The world was such a safer place because Uncle Joe says don't and Kamala says don't. The whole world became a safer place because they said don't. So in a speech that President Trump was giving later, you all remember President Trump? He's the guy that had his election stole from him by Biden and then smeared Kamala, embarrassed her. And he made a statement within a speech about that very same thing, about Iran going after nukes and Iran and all their problems. And he chuckles and he says, I'm going to bomb now I don't use this kind of language, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm just going to use the word poop. You can imagine for yourself the word they use. So I'm going to say it. I'm going to bomb the poop out of them. Oh, I'm going to bomb the poop out of them. You know what? It wasn't so much what he said. It wasn't even so much what Biden said, Kamala said, or even Trump said. It's what they did. Biden did nothing. Did nothing. Obama, who came before Biden, you know what he did? He sent them billions of dollars. These wicked, evil people, he sent them billions of dollars. Well, let me tell you something. Let me explain something to you, Lucy's, okay? If I was looking to build, purchase, buy something such as a nuclear weapon or anything, okay, those things are kind of expensive. They cost a few dollars. You just don't go down to the normal, the drugstore and everything, write out a check, say, I'd like to take 3 of those nuclear bombs right there. Here's $50. No. They cost billions and billions of dollars. All right. What did Obama give them? Billions and billions of dollars. What did Biden give them? Billions of dollars. What would Kamala have given them had she won? most likely billions of dollars. What did Trump give Iran? Billions of dollars worth of missiles down their throats is what he gave them. He lived up to what he said. I'm going to bomb the poop out of them. And he did. They are now poopless, pushing up daisies. They have become that very thing, fertilizer for the fields. I don't know about you. Okay, well, I think most of the people that listen to me would agree with me, I hope. But agree or not, I'm just going to be honest with you. If you don't agree, there's something mentally wrong with you. Why? Because again, the Iranian regime was responsible for American deaths, Israeli deaths, and deaths all around the globe through terrorism. All of these other presidents, I mean, like Obama, how do you sit there and threaten them? How do you sit in there and threaten them and then privately and secretly send cratefuls of American bills to the tune of billions of dollars? And then Biden, who was the vice president at that time and then became president, oh, don't. You know, by the time he got home and he started eating that chocolate chip ice cream, he forgot what he said because he did nothing to stop that. And what does Trump do when he gets into office? Oh, you guys are still trying to work on that nuclear bomb that Obama paid for with U.S. dollars. Let's go bomb their facility. And they did. And then when that wasn't enough, because they still didn't straighten up, they didn't get the clue, now we are putting on display before the world what happens when you cross the United States. And Israel's putting on display, 8,630 square miles is putting on display what happens when a nation that's so much bigger, 636,000, square miles, much bigger, much bigger than Israel. And here's the deal. Why is that 8,630 square miles able to really put an end to this nonsense, this wicked regime? Well, one, of course, because we come alongside them, we're helping them and they're helping us. It's not just, we're not doing this for Israel. And I know I keep hearing this nonsense. We're only doing this for Israel because Israel controls us. We do not control them and they don't control us. We're doing this because number one, we're allies, and it's to both our benefits because Iran has killed Americans as well as Israelis. So why not work together, take them out? But here's what's interesting. Why is it that Israel still survives when they're surrounded by their enemies? Only 8,630 square miles is still surviving, surrounded by their enemies. Why? Because the greatest military force on the planet, called the United States military, is behind them. And they use the equipment, the military equipment, the bombs, the missiles, the jet planes, the helicopters, the tanks that we, the United States of America, sell to them. So this is a huge display. If you've ever gone to a play and you watch these actors up on the play and they're displaying something, and they can just, a few people on a stage can create this great imagery that captures the hearts and the attention of the people. What is this war doing when we're putting on display the best of the best of the best militaries the world has ever seen, the greatest military might the world has ever seen, the greatest military equipment and weaponry the world has ever seen, on display? What do you think it's doing to Russia? What do you think it's doing to North Korea? What do you think it's doing to China? They are now beginning to second guess, and they're going to start thinking again, maybe we should go back. Maybe we should stop poking the bear called the United States of America. Maybe we should stop poking the bear called Israel. That's exactly what it's doing, because right now our militaries are on display, our equipment is on display, our weapons are on display, and we're annihilating this country that's using the other guy's equipment, Russia, China, North Korea, and we're devastating them. We are devastating them. Anyways, let me read a little bit more of this before I wrap this up. He says, not sure, this is Fetterman still, not sure why it's controversial to anyone to appreciate and celebrate wiping out 49 leaders of the most evil regimes in recorded history, Fetterman added. Whoops, where am I? Oh, yeah, there am I. Just a few hours earlier, he called out others in the Senate, all of whom agreed that Iran could never have a nuclear weapon, and some of whom had long called for someone to bring an end to the tyrannical and oppressive regime in Iran, and asked why some, primarily in his own party, still steadfastly refused to support an administration that was serious about doing just that. This, I think, is obvious because so many people in our Senate, so many people in our government, big talkers. And Rush Limbaugh used to say something to this effect. He says the politicians, he used to say this about Clinton a lot when Clinton was in office. And gets up in the morning, steps out into the sunshine and into the breeze, sticks his finger in his mouth, gets it all wet, pulls it out of his mouth and holds it up to see which way the political winds are blowing. And then that's the way he's going to go for that day. The next day may be different because the winds might shift politically. So he's going to go that way. We have a real huge problem with these politicians that don't have anything real no substance to really stand on. And so they just kind of do that. They stick their fingers in their mouth, get it wet, pull it out, put it up in the air to see which way the political winds are blowing, especially in their party. And they go along with that. They don't have common sense. They don't stand up for what's right or wrong. They're just going to go along so they want to be liked. They want to be well known. They want their party's approval instead of the safety and the well-being of the American people, their very constituents, and the citizens that are responsible for putting them in office. So it's not a mystery to me. Fetterman just happens to be someone, again, that I don't fully agree with politically on everything. But he seems to be someone that has some principle, some things that he really holds dear, and he stands on those things. And he has a little bit of common sense, and he knows that when there's this wicked regime out there that's killing Americans, killing Israelis, we've got to put a stop to it. President Trump is the first president to have that kind of courage to really make, not just let's lob a missile over there and hope they get the clue that we're serious. We're serious. I remember Clinton way back in the day. He was so tough that one of these nations that was giving us a hard time, he sent a missile in and blew up an aspirin factory. It literally was a factory where they made painkillers, an aspirin factory. And he was standing like, well, we're so tough. And I think he killed like a night guard or something like that. We are so tough. I will blow up all your aspirin factories. I'm being facetious. He didn't actually say that. But really? I mean, really? Where's the backbone in that? Where's the strength? Where's the strength and the might of the U.S. Army in that? The U.S. military in that? So President Trump comes along and he doesn't blow up an aspirin factory. He takes out 49 of these wicked leaders responsible for all this terrorism and murder and death. This blows my mind, ladies and gentlemen. So he's doing the right thing. Fetterman, thank you. I agree with you. I have no idea why your party or anybody in the United States of America or world would stand on the side of a wicked tyrant, dictator that's responsible just recently, we're not talking about in time past, 40,000 murders and deaths of his own people, the people that he's supposed to be leading. And when your own people want you dead like that, you're pretty bad. So thank you, John Fetterman. I do appreciate you in that sense. I appreciate that. And so Operation Epic Fury must continue until we get the job done. When I say we, I'm not over there doing that. I'm talking about as an American. We must get the job done. We must get the job done. We must complete it and bring it to completion. And that's one of the problems that America's had. We start it, but we don't always complete it. Why? Because we get Congress, our politicians get in the way and try to control this military operation from D.C., not even knowing what's really going on. Anyways, we saw that in the Vietnam War. We never want another Vietnam. We never want another Vietnam. And I pray that this doesn't turn into that. Put it in the hands of the leaders there, the generals, the colonels, the generals, and let them finish the job. You tell them, this is what we want. We want this completed like this. This is what we will call victory. Make it happen and leave it in their hands. That's why they're there. That's their job. It's not some pencil pusher in D.C. It's the people that know what's really going on, have the intelligence, and can use it to wipe out our enemies once and for all. So, Benjamin Netanyahu, thank you. President Donald Trump, thank you. Senator John Fetterman, Democrat of Pennsylvania, thank you for standing up for what is right, for standing up for the United States of America, and standing against wickedness that seeks to kill and destroy us all. We, the American people, the true Americans, with normal hair color, okay? And we refuse to burn an American flag, ever. We thank you. We thank you all. And ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are true Americans, thank you for standing strong. Thank you for praying. Thank you for standing for our military. Thank you for standing for our president. Thank you for standing for Israel. Thank you for standing for the Iranian people. Thank you for standing against that Iranian regime that was brutal and murderous. So I thank you all. God bless you. Have a great day. And let's pray that this comes to a swift end and it puts all of our enemies in check where they will not rear their ugly heads ever again. God bless. Thank you for joining us at Table Flippers. Table Flippers Podcast is a ministry of Greater Works Christian Church in Lancaster, California. You can find us on the web. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. Look for us at Greater Works Christian Church or Table Flippers. I hope to see you soon.